This week's episode features ST Biological's Attest. Attest is a copper-based plant growth nutrient formulated for row crops. Its proprietary delivery system helps transport copper throughout plant vascular tissue. Visit stbiologicals.com to learn more about this and other regenerative ag products. Hello, and welcome to the ST Biologicals Soil Speaks podcast. This week, we'll share some tips to help make your yield weight data as accurate as possible. Let's get started. With the adoption of precision ag technology, it's easy to monitor yield in real time as you harvest. However, your data is only as good as the accuracy of your measuring tool. Corn weighs differently from soybeans, which weigh differently from wheat. You need to calibrate your tool for each crop and throughout the harvest season to collect accurate data. Maintaining your sensors is just as important as calibration. A clean system is more accurate than one that's dusty with debris from last year's harvest. Debris left from last year's harvest can contaminate this year's harvest, decreasing your ROI. Often, all you need to prepare your combine for harvest are a broom and a dustpan. Most yield monitoring systems are installed in a combine. If you have or plan to purchase a new combine, you can get lots of support from your dealer. But if you're retrofitting a yield monitoring system on an older piece of equipment, you may need to reach out to the manufacturer to see what support they offer. You can also watch manufacturer training videos and talk with the ST Biologicals crop consultants for expert guidance. Your yield monitoring system can measure your crop's moisture, content, weight of grain, and volume of grain for a set period of time. With the cost of inputs so high, you want to make sure you're getting the most bang for your buck. You also want to know how your experimental regenerative acres are producing compared to your conventional ones. You can set up your yield monitoring system to give you visual data on the yield variability in your fields. To produce an accurate yield map, your monitoring system has to be connected to GPS. Most newer farm implements have this feature. But if you're driving an old Massey Ferguson in your fields with a retrofitted yield monitoring system, GPS is another piece of the puzzle you have to install. You can buy a new and used GPS system to get the job done. You can also play a role in collecting accurate data. You must drive consistently, with few stops or changes in speed. You also need to stay in a uniform swath. This all requires planning. When you make a turn at the end of the row, for example, your system is still measuring. The good news is that most yield mapping software can make those corrections. So, how do you make precision yield measuring technology effective for you? Well, preparing for harvest as early as possible gives you the lead time to fix broken parts, get required cables, or make needed updates to your technology. Here are the major tasks necessary for accurate field crop readings. Make sure your GPS and other tech subscriptions are up to date. Pull your combine out of the barn and make sure the GPS receiver is working properly. Plan your harvest logistics. You will need a driver for the combine, the weigh wagon, and the off-field harvest truck. A whiteboard with a diagram of who needs to be where and when is also an essential tool. Check that last year's data is safely stored in an external device or synced to the cloud. While you won't need this data until after harvest, you sure don't want to lose it by overriding it with this year's data. Make sure your field boundaries are accurate. Your field boundaries for your planting data, spray data, and harvest data should all sync. Otherwise, how do you determine if your operation is efficient? Verify all the info for the GPS offsets is accurate. The number of rows, width, header mount, and antenna locations relative to your machine all need to be verified that they are consistent with other passes through the field throughout the season. Give everyone involved in harvest a way to take notes on what they see, hear, or even smell in the fields. GPS can give us aggregated data, but human observation will help you learn why one part of the field is underperforming. Does it have a weed problem? Was there a lot of lodging? And if so, why? Is there an area that was very wet or very dry, so germination and crop growth were variable? Do you have a flock of sandhill cranes in one of your grain fields? This seems like a lot of work, but the data you gather is invaluable. The graphs, field maps, and other data show you the parts of your fields that are underperforming, why, and what improvements to make. Notes from human observation tell you why you have field crop yield variability. Yield is only one metric. What other metrics are you measuring that indicate how profitable and sustainable your ag operation is this year? How can you improve in the future? At ST Biologicals, our mentors can walk you through the steps of gathering accurate monitoring system data. Visit us at stbiologicals.com to learn more. When soil speaks, we listen. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you on the next one.